Here's a question most executives aren't asking. Is your AI actually working? Not are you using AI? That's the wrong question. Everyone's using AI now. The real question, the one that separates winners from those burning cash, is whether your AI is viable. And according to IBM's 2025 CEO survey of 2,000 global leaders, only 25% of AI initiatives delivered their expected return on investment over the past 3 years. So let's let that sink in. That means that 3 out of 4 AI projects are failing to deliver value. So we're past the adoption phase, right? We're in the viability era, and most companies are still playing the old game. So let me show you the difference between these two conversations. The adoption conversation sounds like this. We need AI. Our competitors have it. Let's implement ChatGPT for the team. Let's build a machine learning model. Let's hire data scientists. It's reactive. It's a checklist driven. It's about having the right technology. Now, on the other hand, the viability conversations, it sounds completely different. Where does AI create measurable value in our business? What problems can AI solve better than our current process? How do we know if it's working? So this conversation is strategic, right? It's outcome driven. It's about making technology work for you. So here's what no one is telling you. AI viability isn't about the technology itself. It never was. It's about 3 things. Most companies overlook its organizational readiness, it's a strategic fit, and also its measurement infrastructure. So I want to break this down. When I call the AI viability framework, it's about these 3 pillars, and you need all 3 of them. So before you can deploy anything, you need pillar 1. It's operational foundation, right? And so you want to ask, do we have the basics in place before you even deploy AI? This isn't sexy, I know, but it's super, super critical because I'm talking about data hygiene. Do you actually know where your data lives? Is it accessible? Is it accurate? Most AI projects fail here because it's not about the algorithm that it's bad, but it's because they're feeding it garbage data. Now we know how garbage data works, right? Garbage in, garbage out. But then there's the process clarity. Can you map your workflows end to end? Because AI doesn't fix broken processes, it accelerates them. And if your process is broken, AI just makes it broken faster. You notice it quicker, right? And then finally, change readiness. Will the people actually use this? So, too many companies buy tools that no one wants to touch. And so, here's pillar 2, it's strategic alignment. So here's where companies really get it wrong. They're solving the wrong problems. The MIT study showed that 95% of in-house AI projects seeing zero ROI found something fascinating. Zero ROI, right? No returns. So companies were spending most of their AI budget on sales and marketing areas that still needed heavy human involvement. Meanwhile, they ignored back office automation where ROI is proven and it shows that it's immediate. So the question isn't where can we use AI? Is where does AI solve our most expensive problem? And that's the second question. It requires you to actually know what your expensive problems are. So their strategic alignment means 3 things. First, AI addresses a real business pain, not an imagined one. Second, the problem is significant enough to justify the investment. And then there's third, success is measurable in business terms, but not technical metrics. So here's pillar 3, measurement architecture. Now, this is the pillar that everyone really skips, and that's why 75% failure rate exists. So you cannot improve what you cannot measure. But most companies measure AI success by usage metrics. Look, 80% of employees logged into the AI tool. Well, that's great, but what has changed in your business? Is there a benefit, a good impact? And this is where viable AI requires before and after thinking. So, what did this process cost before AI? What does it cost now? How much time did we save? How much revenue did we generate? How much did customer satisfaction improve? So, build the measurement system before you deploy AI. Then decide what success looks like in numbers. Then track it ruthlessly. So here's a conversation I almost never hear in boardrooms. What's your AI value ceiling? So every AI application, it has a point of diminishing returns. You can optimize a process to a certain point, but then additional AI investment, it yields minimal gain. But companies don't talk about that because it feels like it's admitting defeat. Who wants to admit that, right? But sometimes you have to admit defeat so that you can get to success. And smart companies do. They say, well, automate customer service to level 3 complexity. Beyond that, ROI drops below our threshold. They're already stating what their intentions are. This conversation requires you really to think probabilistically and not indetermined. So AI isn't going to solve everything. It isn't going to solve specific things really well if you're strategic about where you aim. So it can solve a really great strategic problem if you are in alignment with what it is that you want to attain, what your goals look like, what does ROI look like. So you have to ask yourself, what's the maximum value this AI application can create? Because when you look at what the minimum investment is to reach 80% of that value, and critically, what's our exit criteria if it doesn't work, right? So most companies can't answer these questions because they're still stuck in adoption mode. So I want to talk about why smart people with good frameworks still fail at AI. The gap between strategy and execution is always about people and systems. But here's what actually happens. A company builds a beautiful AI strategy, leadership is aligned, right? The business case is solid. Then they hand it to IT to implement, makes sense. And IT is measured on uptime, not business outcomes. So they built something technically perfect that nobody uses. And it's not IT's fault at all. It's the process, right? Or worse, they built something that people use, but it doesn't integrate with existing workflows. So you have employees now doing their job and managing an AI tool double the work. Two different areas to focus on. But viable AI, it requires cross-functional ownership. Your AI project needs a business owner who cares about outcomes, and a technical leader who understands the constraints, and a change champion who can drive adoption. So these three roles need to be really in constant conversation. The business owner should be asking, is this creating value? The technical lead should be asking, can we sustain this? And the change champion should be asking, are people actually doing this? Because companies pick one of these three. Viable AI requires all three of them. So if you already have AI running, here's how to audit for viability. So here's 4 questions that you should focus on. Question 1, can you articulate in one sentence what business problem this AI solves? If you can't, no one can either, right? Second question, question 2, do you know the before and after metrics? What did this cost before AI? What does it cost now? And if you're not measuring, you're not managing because you don't have that information to pull from. Question 3, would your business notice if this AI disappeared tomorrow? If the answer is no, you've got a nice to have, but not a viable solution. And then question 4, you must ask, are you making different decisions because of this? Because if it's not changing behavior or decisions, it's not creating value. These questions are simple but super, super brutal because it requires a great deal of honesty. So most AI implementations, they fail at least 2 of them. So I want to bring this home, okay? we're entering a new era. The early adopters already have AI. The question now is whose AI is actually working. So you have 25% of companies, they figured this out. They're not asking, should we use AI? They're asking, is our AI viable? Is it creating measurable value? Can we sustain it? Can we scale it? That's the conversation that separates the next generation of winners from everyone else. So here's my challenge. Stop measuring AI by adoption rates and start measuring by viability. So build your operational foundation, ensure strategic alignment, and then create your measurement architecture. And just be totally ruthless and honest about what's working, because in 2025 and beyond, everyone will have AI, right? But only the viable ones will matter.